earlier when we said that Prowl was going to be kind of day-to-day still, is there an update on the chance tonight?
Prowl is in tonight.
Awesome. What is he bringing back to this team, especially from a leadership perspective?
Well, it's a lot of things. Let's start with the leadership, right? He's been an assistant captain for us now. This is his third year. We've had a lot of success with Michael Mersch and Ethan Prowl being the leaders of this team. We found ways to get through a lot of adversity. We've had some real tough situations with beat up lineups over the last few years, really young players in this league. And those two guys have just helped us as a staff, but also the players navigate all of those waters and stay together as a group. So that from a leadership perspective, but on ice, let's not underestimate the fact that the last 2 years he's been in the top 5 in the American League in scoring for defensemen. So he brings a lot from both on ice perspective and a leadership perspective.
Earlier in the week, Comrie was assigned to the team. Is the expectation for him to go tonight?
Comrie will start tonight, yes.
How are you, and we talked about this too, like this is the third time in the season that you have 3 goaltenders here. What is the big challenge when it comes to the game?
That there's one net. You know, that's the challenge. There's one net. So, you know, we have 3 very good goalies, and you know, we'll just have to do the best we can. I think to manage it in practice is easier in the American League. In the NHL, you don't practice enough. So it's harder in the NHL to manage it in practice because there just isn't that much volume of practice. In the American League, it actually is better to have 3 in practice because the volume of practice, especially the way we practice, is pretty high on our goaltenders. So it allows us to do some things in practice that maybe other times we don't do because we don't want to stress the goalies too much. So from that perspective, that takes care of that in the games. And especially right now, this is a strange stretch where I think only once in these 3 or 4 weeks do we have Wednesday games. Normally, a normal week would be Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Right now, we do have a chunk of just Friday, Saturdays, which just makes it a little more demanding to handle.
When it comes to just talking about this team, and we talked a lot on Wednesday, you mentioned how the defensive metrics have improved, but the offense has kind of slid a little bit, which is a byproduct of that you mentioned. How do you, I guess, kind of find that perfect balance where you're playing the right way defensively, but you're also producing goals for the teams?
I think we'll do that. You know, I think we've proven over the last couple of years, even in the COVID year, that with you know, whoever's been in our lineup, we've been a team that's been able to score. We've been a team that's been able to score with a lot of guys out of the lineup, with a lot of guys out with COVID, with really, really young players in this league. I think we've proven over the last, you know, 2.5+ years that we can score, and I believe this team will score at a good rate going forward. Our offensive metrics aren't down. Our goals are down a bit. We've talked about, you know, we've faced some goalies. We faced a run of goalies with some pretty high credentials. That plays into it. I think we need to get to the net a little bit more. That's been a consistent thing that we've been good at in the last couple of years. I don't think we're great at it yet. I think we're okay. That getting to the net allows you to sustain offense when maybe you're not feeling it as much offensively. You know, when the pretty plays aren't emerging for you or the power play's not clicking, scoring 2 kind of dirty screen, rebound, net front goals still gets you to be a 3-4 goal a game team. So our offensive metrics are still pretty high. We're first in transition stretch passes. I think we're second or third in the league in scoring chances off transition. We're in the top 5 in the league in high danger odd man rushes. Like our offensive metrics are still pretty good. We just need to now keep playing good defense and get our offense back to where we know it can be.
I want to ask you a couple things about Cleveland too. I mean, since you beat them in November, they won 15 of 18 games. And you look at the way they're doing it. They're winning the 2-1 games. They're winning the 5-4 games as well. What are they doing right collectively as a group, even with some of the guys up in Columbus, that's allowed them to pull away.
Yeah, they're playing great. I said at the beginning of the year I thought they were the best team in the division, and it's proved right. Credit to their group and their coaching staff that they've been able to maintain that as some guys have went up. As they lost a Bemstrom, a Christensen, those types of guys. No, they still have a pretty dynamic group of weapons on their team right now. And anytime you put a guy like a Fix Wolansky in a lineup, he's one of the most dangerous players. It's like Barbourlet in Syracuse last year. When you have a guy like that, offense is going to follow. It just is. But I think that an underrated component of their team this year has been Jet Greaves. I think he's at 9-1-4. When they're not a sit back and just play simple defense team. They're an aggressive attacking team. So those numbers aren't inflated. That's a heck of a save percentage. And when you're getting 9-1-4 goaltending, it gives you a chance to win a lot of hockey games.
And we talk about Fix Wolansky, we brought him up a couple times this season. What does he do right? He was a 7th round pick. He wasn't like a super highly talented prospect, but he's been really good in the area.
The only reason he's 7th round pick is because he's 5'8". He's scored a ton in junior. He's scored everywhere he's ever played. He's even when he gets up in the NHL, he seems to score. So he's an elite offensive player. That was only picked where he was picked, and is probably only in this league because of his size. And he's hard to play against. He's strong. He's thick. He can really shoot it, but he also distributes. He's not just a one-dimensional shooter. He's certainly the most dangerous offensive weapon in the North Division right now.
How do you think that has progressed this season? How do you think Novikov really stepped up and adapted?
Novikov has had a really good start to his career in North America. It's a big adjustment for any young Russian to come over here, probably even more on D. He was playing 6 to 10 minutes a night on Olympic-sized ice sheet on a team that basically just had their D running north and stepping the whole time. And to adjust to how we want him to play on a North American sheet, it's been really impressive. He's defended well. He's been a plus player at 5-on-5, which is not easy to do. He's adding secondary offense. We like to joke that he's the second assist king. But there's an art to that. Getting second assists usually means you're making good, simple plays to get your team on offense. And if you make enough of those plays throughout a game, some of them end up in the back of the net. And that's what he's done. He has very good offensive intelligence for a player of his size. And now what we've been working with, he needs to get his foot speed and his body. He's a young, raw body, and his skating needs work. And if we can take a couple of years and get that body refined and get his skating in a good spot, then that package with his intelligence, his defensive stick, and the body is very intriguing.
What's next for him now that he's out of the league practice? What are you looking for?
I think next is more for Jost, would be more like, he and I talked about things that can get him back and that can get him to stay, and he's obviously played a lot in the NHL. He's a very, very good player. And so those are things we've talked about with him. What are areas that can be, a niche for him, to where teams have to keep you, and those are things that we've been talking to him about. And some of those things are in the face-off circle. Some of those things are in the penalty kill. Like at this level, he's going to create offense. He's going to create a lot of it. And you need to create, everybody in the NHL needs to create secondary offense as well. But a lot of times when you get into a bottom 6 spot, it's those other things that make you so valuable that keep you there.
Yeah. Hi,
Appert.
Seth. Hi, Seth. Just wondering how you would summarize, assess the last 5 weeks for Isak Roseanne?
I think that Rosie was playing the best hockey of his career in North America. That led to the call up. I think the call up was an awesome experience. And then since back, I don't think he's been quite himself. And I think he's trending out of that into a positive direction again right now. I liked his game. I liked his practices. I liked his last game in Utica when I watched video on that. Some of it obviously doesn't have Cooley right now, and he and Cooley have tremendous chemistry, so that plays into it. But sometimes when you're up and if you're playing limited minutes and NHL doesn't allow a lot of practice, the combination of that your habits can slip a little bit, and the detail and the identity that is making you such a great player can slip a little bit, especially when you're young and you don't know how to keep it in that role, in a role that you're playing limited minutes with limited practice. And what he's done so well in the last 15 months here is he's practiced with such a commitment and a vigor for his habits that they've carried into games. So I think those slipped a little bit, and right now he's fighting to get those back.
You mentioned that you're confident the group is able to score and will continue to score. Do you see other guys that are on the cusp of really getting back to that level that you've had them at the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think, like I said, Rosie, I think Brandon Byros, obviously he's had a great year, but I do think he is on the cusp of probably going on one of those runs he can have, where he goes from being a point a game player to a point and a half or more in a 10-game stretch. You just feel that with how good he's playing. Weisbach's playing his best hockey of the year right now, so I think he might have some more offensive juice in him. I think our defensive core and our power play need to shoot the puck more, and if they shoot the puck more, I think Murray and Mersch's numbers are going to go up dramatically. I think they're both playing really good hockey. I don't think we're getting the big men the puck enough at the front of the net, and when those two get the puck in those areas, we know how dangerous they are.